Okay. All right, let's have a seat. Ooh. A little stiff this morning, but that'll feel better in an hour. My name is Lori. Welcome. And we're going to be working on the spine today. Nice place to center as it's the direct feed down from your brain to the rest of your body. So we're going to be working side bends and forward and back, just kind of loosening and lengthening that spine. Just think the whole time about length as we go through each of the postures. But to start with, we'll do a little centering, coming to a comfortable seated position, maybe cross-legged. Maybe you decide today you want to start with legs in omega or a long diamond shape. If you have your legs extended, it's better to put a little elevation underneath your hips. That's going to allow the spine to lift, the hips to shift forward just a little bit so you can lengthen that spine. Lifting the top of the head up towards the sky. Let's bring the thumb and forefinger together, turn the palms towards the ceiling. A little Chi Mudra. This particular hand gesture, Chi Mudra, stands for knowledge and wisdom, which is especially important as you do this practice from home, using the knowledge that you have of yoga and of your body, and applying your wisdom as you go through the postures, just to make sure that you don't injure yourself, which can happen without someone monitoring you. So pay attention to your body throughout the whole class. So we're sitting nice and tall, shoulders pressed down, the back, lifting the chest towards the ceiling. Close your eyes and breathe. I'm going to continue to give you an option of putting one hand on your chest, the other on your diaphragm, so that we can be sure that your breath is going deep, that you bypass the chest and go down to the diaphragm. So as you inhale, you expand, you press that hand out and away, allowing the breath to go deep, and then fill the lungs up to your collarbones. And as you exhale, you feel the diaphragm press back into your body. It's important to breathe this way because this deep breath using the diaphragm is a great way to massage your organs. At your own rate, inhaling deeply, exhaling long and completely. Allowing the breath to calm your mind, to calm your heart. And open your eyes. And we're just going to take a couple breaths, inhaling the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And another one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. And last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. Let's start with a little side stretching, bending the spine side to side. Just take your hands out to the side. And you're going to start walking the right fingertips over. Still thinking about length through the spine, through the body as you move over and pressing down on that left hip. Breathe. You can bring your fingertips to your shoulder. You want to make sure that your chest is nice and open. And if the shoulder is okay with this, you take the arm and stretch it out and over, lengthening, feeling that stretch as you press down with the left hip and reach up with the left hand. Inhale, come back to center, and the other side. Exhale, and just walk the fingertips out to the left until you start to feel like your right hip wants to lift, but you're going to press that hip down into the floor. You can bring the fingertips to your shoulder, keeping chest open, being careful not to allow the body to turn towards the floor, keeping the chest lifted and open. And if the shoulder is okay with it, today you take that arm and stretch it out. Breathe. And inhale and bring yourself back to center. All right, we're going to spend a little bit of time on our back, so we're going to move whatever cushion or support you might have out of the way, and we're going to find our way all the way down to the back. I think I'll turn sideways so you can see me a little better. We're just going to bring the right knee into the chest, a little grounding pose. Taking a couple breaths here. And then bring your left knee in, extend the right leg. And then bring both feet to the floor. You're going to widen the feet a little wider than your mat. And we're just going to do a nice, easy swing and sway with the knees, starting moving them over to the right and back to center and over to the left and back to center. A couple more over to the right and center and to the left. And center. All right, we're going to do similar, but I'm going to make a little change. I'm going to turn so you can see what's going on with my knees. Maybe widen your feet just a little bit more. This time you're going to keep your left leg static. It stays right there, the knees pointing towards the ceiling. And you're going to take the right knee down on the inside towards the floor. And then bring that right knee up. Now it stays right there, pointing towards the ceiling. And you take the left knee down towards the floor. Bring that knee back up to center. And we're going to take the right knee down towards the floor. This time we're going to hold. Breathe. A lot of what goes on with your spine is impacted by the legs, the hips. So we're warming up the hips a little bit. Let's bring that right knee back up to center. And as you exhale, you're going to take the left knee down and hold. And bring that knee back up. Let's bring the feet together. Stretch the legs out. The arms are going to go up overhead. You're going to reach up. A little lying down Tadasana with a stretch. Feel that lumbar spine lifting a little bit. And from here, another little side flexation. We're going to take the arms to the top left corner of your mat and take the legs to the bottom left corner of your mat. Borrowing a little from Yin Yoga, a little banana asana, so you feel this stretch going down the right side of your body. If you want a little extra stretch for the IT band, you're going to lift the right leg and cross the ankle over the left. Breathe. Let's uncross your ankles, and we're going to shift to the other side. So the arms go over to the upper right corner of the mat, the legs to the lower right corner of the mat. And the IT band stretch comes with crossing the ankle over the other ankle. If this bothers your shoulders at all, please feel free to bring the arms down. Nice deep breaths. And we're going to uncross the ankles. Bring yourself back to center. Bring both knees into your chest. Take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, bring your nose towards your knees. Bring your head down. Let's roll to one side. Press yourself up. We're going to come all the way up onto our hands and knees into a 4-point pose. I'll go sideways so you can see this. We have our knees under our hips, hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to stretch the right leg back out behind you. And then pay attention to your hips. We have a tendency when we stretch this leg out to lift the hip up. You want to rotate that hip down so the hips are level. Engaging the core, pressing into your left hand, you're going to stretch, into your right hand, you're going to stretch the left arm out, opposite arm and leg. And breathe, using that core, stretching the spine. And bring that hand down, bring the leg down. Other side, stretching the left leg out. Pressing into the left hand, stretch the right arm out in front of you. Checking in with those hips again, making sure they're level. That's going to help you with your balance. And bring that hand down, bring that leg down. Let's tuck the toes under. We're going to do a few cat crunches, really great, especially for the lower back, but good for the whole spine. You're going to take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, arch your back. On that same exhale, you're going to press the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, come forward, neutral position. Exhale, arch the back and press back. Inhale, come forward. And one more. Exhale, arching the back and press back. And inhale, forward. And then to get into the cervical spine and the upper back, you're going to bring your forearms onto the floor. Grab opposite forearms or elbows, going into a lizard pose. You're going to walk the elbows forward so your hips are just forward of your knees. And you're going to shift the weight forward so the shoulders are right over the elbows. Inhale in this position. Then as you exhale, send the tailbone up towards the ceiling and the chin and the chest towards the floor. Inhale, come forward. Shoulders over elbows. Exhale, press back slowly. Inhale, come forward. Exhale and press back. We're going to stay here now. Tailbone presses up. You got a nice little curve in your spine. Stretching out shoulders, upper back. And inhaling, come forward. And you're going to walk your elbows back in. And press back into child's pose. Child's pose is also great for the back. He's taking a couple breaths here. The arms are stretched out overhead, fingers spread nice and wide. You're going to inhale and come forward. So you're in a modified plank position. Then exhale as you pause, and inhale, take the hips down, thinking of length from the heels all the way up and out through the top of your head. And exhale, press yourself back. Inhale, come forward, pausing in that modified plank. Exhale. Then inhale. Keep the shoulder blades pressed down your back. Open the chest. Lengthen the spine. And exhale, press back. And the last one, coming forward, pausing in that plank position. Exhale. Inhale. And lengthen. Exhale, pressing all the way back. From here, we're going to go into downward dog. So you keep those arms stretched out. This child's pose is a nice measure for the distance between your feet and your hands in downward dog. If you're okay in the shoulders and the wrists, you're going to shift your weight forward, tuck the toes under, and send the hips up towards the ceiling. If this just isn't working for you today, you might modify that pose, bringing the knees down, hips over the knees, and stretch the hands out overhead, taking the forehead, the chest towards the floor. You choose either one is a nice stretch for the spine. For the backs of the legs especially, hamstrings impacting the lower back. And breathe. And we're going to move to a forward bend, walking hands back, taking feet forward, whatever you choose. So you come into a forward bend. So if you're in the modified downward dog position, find your way onto your feet and come forward. You have options for your hands. If they don't reach the floor, just let them dangle. You can grab opposite forearms or elbows and let the torso hang. If you have issues with your back or a little tight in the hamstrings, you might opt to put your forearms on your thighs. Just make sure you relax the head and the neck and let the torso hang. Continuing to breathe. You're going to release your arms. You can always put your hands on your thighs for a little support. Make sure you pull the navel up and in. Press into the feet. Inhale. Exhale. Roll yourself up slowly, slowly, slowly. And come to the middle of your mat. Feet about hip width apart. You might opt to grab a belt or a strap if you have it. It's just to keep yourself from, as you go side to side, from allowing the arms to move. You want to keep the arms stretched straight up in line with your ears. Inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to tilt over to the right. Inhale back to center. And as you exhale, tilt over to the left. Inhale back to center. Let's go ahead and put the strap down. This time the arms come up, and you're going to grab onto the left wrist. Inhale. Exhale, tilt over to the right. You're pressing both feet equally into the floor. Stretching, lengthening, feeling that stretch down the left side of your body. Inhale back to center. Grab onto your right wrist. And exhale and move over towards the left. Inhale back to center. And exhale, bring the hands down. Let's place your hands on your lower back. We're going to do a little farmer stretch. We're going to roll the shoulders back so you have a good connection with the shoulder blades. Trying to keep the ribs closed, the abs pulled in. Slight bend in the knees. As you inhale, you're going to lean back. You decide how far that goes. If you're feeling pretty good in your spine, you can press the hips forward a little bit. Just make sure you feel the length from the heels, up the legs, up through the spine, out through the top of the head. And exhale, coming forward just halfway. Bending knees a little more if the hamstrings are tight. Inhale, using that core, bring yourself back up. Lean back, but lengthen. Exhale, come forward halfway. And inhale, bring yourself back up one more time. Lengthen. And exhale, forward. And bring yourself back up. We're going to separate the feet just a little bit, turning the toes out. We're going to do a little camper pose. So from here, we're going to lean forward, place your forearms on your thighs, interlace the fingers. As you inhale, you're going to drop the hips down, paying attention to the knees. They need to track with the toes. So if they're coming more inward, open the legs, stretching the inner thighs, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine. Exhale, folding in half. Inhale, bum down. This is a variation in a squat. Squat's very great for the spine. Exhale and fold forward. If you choose to go a little deeper, you can put your fingertips on the floor. Inhale and take those hips down a little further. This is a little more advanced option. You can stay with the forearms on the thighs. Exhale, fold forward. And one more. Inhale. Lifting the chest. Stretching the tailbone towards the floor. Exhale and fold forward. Nice deep inhale here, pulling up into your core. And on the exhale, pressing the feet into the floor as you roll yourself up. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to end up in a little lunge. So you may want to grab some blocks, and just depends on your flexibility. Just have them ready there in case you need them for support. I'm going to start with a little Egyptian pose first. You're going to take the left foot back, keep the right foot forward. And then you have some options for your arms. You can bring the arms behind you, just grabbing onto opposite forearms or elbows. You can even just place the fists together or one fist in the palm. If you're quite flexible in the shoulders, you might try a reverse namaste. Make sure that your distance between your feet is not too wide. This is an intense stretch. And the hands behind you are intended to help you keep that spine straight and the chest open. Inhale. And as you exhale, you keep that spine lengthening as you come forward, and you decide how far you're going to go, because this is an intense stretch on the hamstrings and the glutes. You might stop here part way, or experiment with taking your chest all the way down. Breathe. Check in with your hips. Make sure that the right hip hasn't pushed out to the side. You want to draw it back in. Body's nice and square. From here, you're going to take your hands down to the floor, maybe onto your blocks. You're going to pick that back foot up, and you're going to stretch it way back behind you so you come into a high lunge. So high lunge, being careful that your hips aren't way up here. If that's where they have to be because you're a little tight, then go ahead and leave them there. But if you can, try and press the hips down so you get a nice long line through the spine. Then we're going to bring that left knee down, and you're in a low lunge, keeping the chest lifted. And from here you can accentuate this stretch in the psoas muscle on the left side by pressing the hips forward and down slightly. Nice deep stretch. The psoas muscle is one that moves or goes from the front to the back, and therefore impacts your spine. And you can stay right there if that's feeling good, or you can place your hands on your knee and try and press yourself up. That's going to intensify that stretch. Can also create a little bit of a back bend. You have options: staying down, coming up. Third option, maybe you lift your arms up and lean back slightly. Breathe. And on an exhale, we're going to bring those hands down to the floor, tuck the back toes under, lift that knee, and either step forward or back, whichever one works for you, to get the feet together into a forward bend. Inhale here, and on the exhale, roll yourself up. Other side. Now we're going to take that right foot and step it back. Again, not too far, 12 to 18 inches. Bring your arms back behind you in your chosen position. Let's inhale first, opening the chest, lengthening the spine. Keep that length as you exhale and fold forward, making sure the movement's coming from the hip and not from the spine. And once you've found your position, feeling that stretch in the hamstring, in the glute on the left side, you just make sure that your hips are square. Breathe. And then we're going to bring the hands down to the floor, onto your blocks. Pick up that right foot, step it way back behind you. See if you can bend the left knee so it's right over the ankle. Lift the chest and head. Lower the hips as best you can. Nice long line from the heel up the spine. Let's bring that right knee down. Still checking if the knee is over the ankle. That's important. If it's not, you might need to just work that foot forward a little bit so you have a nice right angle with the knee. Head and chest lifted. You might press forward and down just a little bit to accentuate the stretch in the psoas. And you can stay right here or place your hands on your knee and press yourself up slowly, slowly, paying attention to the back, to the hip. And if you want to take it one step further, then you inhale and bring the arms up, maybe leaning back a little bit. And then we're going to exhale and bring the hands down. This time we're just going to draw that left foot back. And we're going to find our ways down onto our stomachs. So we start with the Sphinx pose. Bringing the forearms onto the floor, elbows underneath the shoulders, and the spine lengthened as you lift the chest and press the shoulder blades down your back. Now, if this is a little too much of a back bend for you, then you just simply stretch the forearms out a little bit and take a little bit of that curve off of the spine. And we'll stay here for a couple breaths. And to move a little more into the neck and the cervical spine, we're going to place the elbows on the floor. Put the hands underneath your chin, just cupping your chin in your palms. And then moving the elbows around so you find a place that's comfortable, and then sink down into that pose. Breathe. And we're going to stretch the arms out overhead. Coming down onto the floor, we're going to do some variations on, what is it called? I've forgotten it. Cobra. Okay, I'm going to move back just a little bit so I'm on my mat. Arms out overhead. You're going to move your hands back 1 hand length. So a hand length is from the base of the palm to the tip of the middle finger. Just walk them back a little closer. Elbows out to the side. You're pressing the pubic bone, the hip bones into the floor, using your legs as your anchors. Nice deep inhale. On the exhale, you're going to start pressing up, paying attention to your back. If your arms don't straighten out, it's not a problem. If you can straighten them out, go ahead. Either way, you're trying to keep those shoulder blades pressed down your back and lift up, lengthening through the spine. Breathe. And exhale and bring yourself back down. So we're going progressively more difficult. If you want to stay right here, please do. If you want a little more, take your hands back another hand's length. Inhale. Exhale. Start pressing up. Again, paying attention to the spine. Lengthening as you press up. It's okay if the elbows stay bent. Just make sure the shoulder blades go down the back. And we're going to come down on an exhale. Now the full posture is with the hands starting underneath the shoulders. Tuck the elbows in, engaging the shoulder blades. Nice deep inhale. On the exhale, pressing up. This is a very deep lengthening for the spine, pressing all the way up. And exhale and bring yourself all the way back down. And stretch the arms out overhead. And pay attention to the connection of your pubic bone, your hip bones into the floor. You're going to take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to lift your right leg. Now, when I say lift your right leg, I don't mean lift the right hip off the floor. Keep that connection with the right hip bone. And release that leg down. Pressing the left hip bone into the floor. Lift the left leg. And bring it down. One more each side. Inhale, lift the right leg. And release. And last one, lift the left leg. And release. Now we're going to add a little bit of arm movement. So take a deep inhale. On the exhale, lift the right leg, lift the left arm. The head and chest come up. You're reaching through the fingertips and the toes. And come back down. Inhale, lift the left leg and the right arm. Reach, reach, reach. And release. Bring your arms alongside your body. Take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, use your hands, top of your hands on the floor, to lift the head and shoulders up, and then lift the legs. And release. One more of those. Nice deep inhale. As you inhale, lift head and shoulders up, and then lift the legs. And then maybe lift the hands and reach. And release. Let's bring the hands underneath your shoulders and slowly press yourself back to a child's pose. Breathe. Slide the hands under your shoulders. You're just going to lift your torso up and come on around. We're going to end up on our backs. Might as well use a little sinking boat just to get a little work for the abs. Feet on the floor, knees bent. You can place your hands behind the knees for support or stretch the arms straight out. A little more difficult. Shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Then as you exhale, you're going to start rounding your back. Roll back one vertebrae at a time. Use that core. Slowly lower yourself all the way down. Okay, feet underneath the knees. We're going to do a little bridge pose. So you want to lengthen the back of the neck, tuck the chin slightly, arms pressing into the floor alongside your body. As you inhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis, lift the hips up, pressing the knees away, pressing the tailbone away, lengthening the spine. And then exhale and slowly, one vertebrae at a time, return back to the floor. Inhale first, lifting the tailbone, then lifting the hips. And exhale and return down. And last one, tilt the pelvis so the tailbone lifts, then pressing feet into the floor, lift the hips. Going to stay here for a couple breaths. If you want a little more, you can roll the shoulders slightly underneath you, interlace your fingers, and press the hips up, pressing the arms down into the mat. Release the hands slowly, slowly. Bring yourself back down to the floor. All right, the next one is really good internal rotation for the hips. You're going to spread the feet as wide as your mat. First option is to just allow both knees to come towards the inside. If you find the knees touch easily, then widen your feet out a little more. This might be your option for that internal rotation. You want to take it a step further, then we're going to widen the feet even more. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, bring your right knee down towards the floor. Place your hands behind your head, lift the head, look down at your knee. Make sure that knee is in line, straight line down from your hip. Then bring the head back down to the floor. Second option, you might stay right here. If you're feeling like you want to take it one more step, you're going to lift the left leg. Place the left ankle on your right leg and allow both legs to press down towards the floor. Breathe. And we're going to release that foot and bring both knees back open. If you've had your knees pressed towards the inside, give yourself a little break, open the knees. And we'll move to the other side. So again, the option, just taking both knees towards each other and holding. Or taking that left knee down towards the floor, lifting the head, making sure the knee is in line with your hip. The second place, just to stop and enjoy the stretch. Or lift the right foot and place it on top of your left leg. And let both legs sink down. And remove that right leg. Let's take both knees out to the side. We're going to walk the feet together. And then open the knees out to the side, a little lying down butterfly, little contra pose. And then slowly, using those inner thigh muscles, bring those knees back to center. And we're going to bring the knees up. So I'm going to move to the side so you can get a better view of this. So you bring your legs into tabletop. Stretch the arms out to the side. Taking a deep inhale. On the exhale, you take both knees over towards the right, towards the floor. But you want to try and keep both shoulders firmly planted into the floor. So if you find it's difficult to get the legs down to the floor, grab a pillow, a blanket, something to place underneath your leg for a little support. You can also extend the knees down a little more. And if you want a little extra stretch, you can actually move the knees up a little closer to your armpit. Breathing. Focusing on your core as you inhale, you bring those knees back up to center. And on the exhale, you're going to take them both over to the left. Remembering options, a little support underneath or even something in between the knees. You can stretch the knees away from you a little bit to take a little bit of that tension out of the back, out of the shoulders. Or you can pull the knees up a little closer to your armpit if you want that extra stretch. Engaging the core. And as you inhale, you're going to bring those knees back to center. And we're ready for our Shavasana, so one at a time, stretch the legs out on the floor. Bring the arms alongside your body with the palms facing the ceiling. Keep a little separation between your hips and your hands. That just allows the shoulders to roll back and down a little bit. I'm going to have you press your arms into the floor. Lift the shoulders slightly. Press the shoulder blades down your back, allowing the chest to open. Then come back down to rest on the floor, relaxing the feet and the legs, relaxing the arms and your torso. You have the option here once again to place a hand or maybe even a pillow or a block on your tummy. And as you inhale, you feel that hand lift. And on the exhale, you feel the hand press down. Continuing, following that breath. If any thoughts come into your mind, just let them go. Bring your focus back to your breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe twist the wrists and the ankles. And one last stretch for that spine, bringing the arms up overhead, lying down Tadasana. Reach through the fingertips, through the toes. And on the exhale, bring the arms down, the knees come in towards your chest. Let's just rock a little from side to side, giving the lower back a little massage. Then roll over onto your right side, press yourself up, coming to a seated position. Grab whatever props you might need for your seated position. Anything that will allow you to sit up nice and tall, bringing your hands to your heart center. Let me give you a parting hug. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, bring the arms up. And on the exhale, you're going to wrap your arms around you, and I send you this big hug. Thank you for coming to class, for paying attention to your body, for caring about your body. Hands to your heart center once again. Namaste.